liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
At this time, we'll be taking some public comments. I think Mrs. Covington had come to our meeting, and I would like to see what she has to say.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How
My
are you?
name is Buell Carrington, and I'm here because I have to give you some background information because I realize that you all have rules and regulations in your policies. But in September, after Hurricane Harvey, my 99-year-old aunt was living with her son. He had a apparent heart attack. His name was Samuel Comier. Her name was Cecil Comier. And so I was trying, and then she died, okay? So I was trying to manage her bills as well as my bills, plus I have a blind veteran husband at home. So to try to maneuver and pay all this stuff, I was using my bill pay. I put her account number on my bill pay, so all of her money was going to, all of my money was going to part her bill. At this point in time, she has about $200 in credit. That house is standing there with mold and mildew in it. And so when I called your office, all I was asking is that the money, that $200 that's sitting on her account, if possible, it could just be transferred to my account. At the present time, I am the executor of her will, and by the end of the year, I'll make a decision as to what I'm going to do with that house. And but in the meantime, instead of the money sitting there just eating up at $10 a month, I think that's what Alex said.
Did you put it on vacation?
I put it on vacation.
Yes, ma'am.
So anyway, the only thing I was asking is that leave $80 on her account, let it eat it up, and then today transfer the remainder of amount of money and transfer it to my account. I did come with a will today to show you that. So that was my request, and you know, like I said, I realized that all companies have rules and regulations and stuff, and so that's what I was requesting.
Well, if you're the executor of her estate, then you have the right to do whatever you wish.
Yes, I think you should be able to.
Right, you have, in other words, you have power of attorney.
Yeah,
Being the
or is this-
executor,
Yeah.
so that you can move money around wherever you want. You can close her account.
Is it okay we
add
don't move it to her account?
Right. Let's do that.
Yes.
We'll do what you ask.
Okay, so,
Why do you have it on vacation if the house is abandoned?
pardon?
Why do you have it on vacation? It's water cut off anyway, once you take it.
On vacation, because it's a possibility we may try to miss mold and mildew, we may try to renovate it, maybe.
Okay.
What does it cost to turn it back on if she cuts it off?
See, so this way she leaves.
Yeah, I understand, I'm just
Right.
saying if it benefited her.
I think you're doing the right thing.
Okay, so bottom line is if I could just leave $80 in her account, that way by the end of the year, all that money will be gone.
Yes.
And then the remainder of the money, if we could just pay it toward S.T. Carrington's bill.
All right.
We
Sounds good.
agree, Alex.
We need a motion or not?
No, it's not on the agenda.
Okay, we're good.
Make a copy of the executor.
We still do what?
Just make a copy of it.
Yeah, we need to see this.
I can give you that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So who do I give this to?
Go to the ladies up front.
Thank you.
She'll make
Thank you,
a
ma'am,
copy.
for your time.
Uh-huh.
Is there any other public comment at this time? Gloria?
Yes, sir, I did sign up. Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I am speaking to you today as a resident of Stowell, which is probably good news to you all. But I'm addressing item number 8. And I have a question about this, Mayhaw Lateral 1 and Mayhaw Bayou Lining Project. And I'm really glad that Cody is here and Patrick is here. Patrick is going to be the grant administrator. Of course, y'all know Cody with LJ. And they might
We asked them to come so they could explain these things.
Yes, and like I said, I'm glad y'all are here. Again, I'm not a water expert or a flood expert, but in my mind, Mayhaw lateral 1 is over here, right? The ditch that is supposed to be widened and deepened, Jerry, is it on this east?
Behind the school.
Behind the school, and it goes all the way to Mayhaw Bayou, which is this way. It goes east.
We don't know, we've never got a map on it.
No, we're still waiting on that.
Okay, but allegedly it is this
Yes,
east-west.
it ties into the ditch here by Energy, and then it's widened all the way to the end where it dumps into Mayhaw.
Okay. Again, I don't know of the project intimately, but are y'all going to be doing Mayhaw 1 lateral first before you do the bayou, the ditch, the big one?
Trinity Bay is going to be constructing the project before
Right.
spring, and I believe that the intention is to construct Mayhaw Lateral 1 this year, because the deadline is December 31st, 2018.
Right.
They have until December 31st, 2019 to construct Mayhaw Bio up in town, across 2024.
Oh, okay, so that's my question, because my thought is if y'all do the lateral first, which goes north-south, and it's supposed to run into the big ditch, but if the big ditch isn't cleaned first, then all this water that's going to be coming from Mayhaw Lateral 1 is going to flood East Stowell, that whole area, because the big ditch is not clean yet.
Well,
So that's my concern. It's possible.
Now, Gloria, we started down there on Todd Road, on Mayhaw 5, cleaning, and we've been cleaning it. We've been
But
pulling
your
off.
crossings there, they won't change the outfit.
No, not yet, not on Hayes Road,
No,
nothing
because
else.
that's gonna be done with the second phase.
But we have started already at the bottom, next to Todd Road. And on the other side, I believe they have done some work too, on the other county.
Okay, so I guess what I want to get is reassurance from the board that the ditch, the big ditch will be able to handle the water coming from lateral 1 if we should have another Harvey or even closer to a Harvey.
yeah, the Lateral 1 actually runs east-west from the highway. It crosses the highway right here. We're building a newer ditch that runs behind the school along the old railroad right-of-way. That will tie into Lateral 1. And then we're cleaning out Lateral 1 that runs east-west toward Mayhaw. And then from Mayhaw, meanders down into Jefferson County, and there's a, diversion channel. But that's really got nothing to do. That's way downstream of our other project up in town.
Okay, like I said, there's just been talk about the water, the new ditch, it's wider, it's deeper, it's going to bring more water faster to Stowell, east Stowell, and the potential flooding. So is there any way that I can get a map, to show people?
You're talking about the ditch up in town, Mayhaw Bio, that we're
See,
gonna.
I don't know which is
Yes.
which. I see.
Yeah, it's not getting any wider or deeper. All we're converting it from an earthen line channel to a concrete block line channel to improve the hydraulics. And then we're replacing all the road culverts except for Highway 124. And it runs from 1406 to Chestnut Street. We're replacing all those crossings. So the ditch itself isn't getting any bigger at all. It's just we're improving the hydraulics by taking out the earthen line channel and putting in articulated concrete block mats. We were going to concrete line it, but the Corps wouldn't let us do that. So
Yeah.
it's not getting any bigger at all.
But the water is going to flow faster, right?
It's going to
And
improve
yes.
performance, yes.
Performance, but I guess I think you know what I'm talking about, is because it's going to improve the performance of the movement of the water that way. Where it's going to go, it's going to be able to handle that water.
Yes, the models that we have done, when we did hydraulic models years ago on the whole Mayhaw system, they all show that it's fine. And once the water from Mayhaw Lateral 1, and it's all about timing also, timing plays a big part of it. The Mayhaw Lateral 1, let's say you get a rainfall event in this area. The rainfall from Mayhaw Lateral 1 will be into Mayhaw and downstream before that water ever gets down.
Okay.
So they're pretty far apart.
No.
There's no concern
Okay.
that this gets done first and it's going to have an adverse impact when that gets done. It's really not a concern at all.
Okay, good. I'm glad, like I said, I wanted to hear it from y'all because, those of us who live in this area are concerned that it might flood because this part wasn't done first or
All right, well, we need to move on.
Okay, well, thank you.
More of these questions on item number 8 when we bring it to this. Right now, we're moving on to, is there any other public comment? Steve?
I'd like for somebody to go down and check the water tanks down there that, on Barrows down there, or whoever that, whatever y'all call that before this flood comes. Just make sure those lilies hadn't backed up, or instead of, maybe do it before a flood instead of after a flood.
Will you go down there?
Yeah, we'll get that. Thank you.
We'll do that today.
Thank you.
All right, if you have time. All right.
Danny, Donnie was gonna go down there today.
Don?
Okay.
Okay.
Getting it now.
Any other public comment? Bob? None? All right. And we'll move right along to item number 4. Approve the minutes of the special meeting and financial workshop held May the 10th.
I make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Number 5 is approve financial reports.
I make a motion to approve financial report. Oh, Sherry.
Jerry hadn't given them yet. Hey, it's okay.
I'm sorry, Sherry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
The monthly financial transactions for May 2018 for the general fund, the revenue realized is $54,561. The expenditures were $266,112, for 66% into the fiscal year, and have expended 70.90% of the fiscal budget. The water and sewer fund, the revenue realized is $392,648. The expenditures were $521,045, for 66% into the fiscal year, and have expended 66.93% of the fiscal budget. The fund balances for May are $7,519,556. This includes all cash accounts and certificates of deposit.
So we're back in balance now. 66 and 66.9.
No, well, close.
That's pretty close.
We're
But we
already
moved
down.
money, that's one.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you moved
The money didn't change, we moved it.
Have a motion?
I already made it.
No, okay. Second. All in favor? Motion carried. Item number 6, approved tax report number 809.
The Chambers County May collections were $48,640, with a current levy collection rate of 93.62%. The May 2017 collections were $40,081, with a collection rate of 93.48%. In Jefferson County, the May 2018 collections were $16. The current levy collection rate of 91.07%. In May 2017, the collections were $203, with a collection rate of 93.73%.
Need
I make a motion to approve the tax report.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Item number 7, review and consider approval of accounts payable.
The unpaid accounts payable for the month is $356,867. The total accounts payable for the month is $392,949. And there's not any construction fund or drainage construction.
Need a motion?
I make a motion to approve the accounts payable.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Item number 8, review and consider entering into an interlocal agreement with Chambers County for Mayhaw Lateral and Mayhaw Line project. We discussed some of it already.
Jeffrey, did you look?
Where?
Jeffrey.
With Gloria, we talked about some of it already. I didn't know if y'all had some more information that we needed or questions. Is there anything? Questions, Jeffrey? You have any questions?
You got any questions? Well, the amount, what is the total amount of grant? Yeah, Patrick.
For Mayhaw Lateral, the total amount of the grant is $1,364,500.
And so y'all were didn't pay, y'all report didn't pay?
No. And then for Mayhaw Bayou, it's $1,375,000 even.
So total it's 2.7 million.
For both projects.
Right, for both.
Yeah, two separate grant contracts though.
You want,
Exactly.
It's two
Both are
separate
signing them on
grant
one
contracts.
envelope.
yeah, now in county court the other day, they said they got a contractor bid it out, it would take 1.8 million to do the job.
That was for lateral. work.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of context there.
Yeah.
It was for lateral, if that was.
Okay, now, so we're gonna do it for 1.3 less materials.
Yes. Right.
Okay, now, how much are the materials total on the,
Yesterday, the county awarded the largest material, which is the drainage pipe, to Ameritex for the large boxes. That was $185,000. We still have to do, we have a bid that advertises today for cement stabilized sand. It's a rebid because we didn't get any bids on that material. I estimate that's probably going to be about $60,000. And we still have lots of other material like the articulated block, back structural backfill, stuff like that. Anything that the district needs to put back. I estimate all, to answer your question, about $300,000 to $350,000 in material alone.
that's all the way to the bottom. That's all the way to the hell bottom, right?
That's from Buccaneer.
Well, that's what
That's on Mayhaw Lateral 1 from Buccaneer down to where it empties into Mayhaw Bayou.
the other day y'all estimated about 400,000.
Yeah, well, I think I've brought that down to about $350,000, but it all depends on the quotes we get.
Right.
And on the bids we get.
Okay, all right. And do we have to haul the dirt off? I mean, is the dirt coming out by, does it have to go somewhere?
I believe, my understanding is Jerry has, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, you've got some contacts there along with the route that you can spread the dirt on?
Yes, sir. It's reshaping the ditch from Mayhaw all the way back up to behind Energy. And then the ditch behind Energy, the county has agreed to let us fill in the road ditch to be able to put the dirt there. And the old railroad right of way on the other side to fill that in.
Right, the landowners.
So that's all it's doing.
It really, it's so close. You got a water line that's within 5 feet, and then you got a pipeline within 25 feet, so it'll just be spread on the right of way.
Won't even have to use a truck at all, or?
I'm not saying not completely,
No.
but we do have our own trucks, if we need to move a little bit. Most of it is reshaping.
Most of the dirt is gonna stay there.
Yes.
Okay, Mike, I think it's only fair that you lay out the negatives for this before we look at a vote.
The county took 2.5 hours to make the decision.
Yes.
Are you gonna lay out the negatives?
Does anybody have any negatives?
You were at that meeting last Friday week ago.
You were too?
Did you come up with negatives?
I heard a lot of griping about Tony Sims and the county, and I've been over it with Jerry quite a bit. So on that other project that we did, we had some problems with our.
I'm not going back to that project. I'm talking about this one right now, this smoker project.
Do you have negative, don't you, like?
Well, I see we have negatives. I mean,
Like what?
we have a drop dead deadline of December 31st.
Right.
Period, no extensions, no nothing. That's a 6-month project, and we have 7 months to start it, to finish it. And that scares me.
According to LJA, we have plenty of time to finish this.
Well, let me finish. Okay, so we have a 7-month window, 6-month project, and we're not ready to start. We don't have a plan. We don't have anything on paper. We don't even know how much money we're gonna have. Now, the grant is $1.3 million. After they get their pay, engineers, project, public management,
Our fees are separate of that.
they're in there, they're coming out.
No, not of the 1.3.
We're paid directly by the GLO.
Yeah, that's
It's not coming out of this money.
No.
That's the construction budget.
Thanks for correcting me. Okay, after the county buys the materials, we get what's left. We don't even know how much that amount is. We have no control over what they buy, or when, if we're working the job and we need materials that aren't in, we're not in control of those materials. If it stops the job, we're screwed. When the paperwork goes in, 4 people have to sign off for each job. If they hold it up or stop the job, like these jobs have been stopped in the past, we're not gonna meet a deadline. Now, if we don't meet the deadline, we pay 100% back to the county, which pays back to the GLO. The county has 0 risk. We have 100% of the risk. We will even pay back for those easements that they had to buy. No, it's out of the grant money. But we have, the county has 0 risk, and we have it all. And I have a real problem with that.
We're gonna meet the 3 risks.
Okay, and this is what I was thinking about when I was sitting in a meeting at the Commissioner's Court. 5 of us on this board are all business people. We've all been self-employed or ordinary. And I'm sitting there listening to all this. There is one of us would enter into a personal contract like this with our money. And that scares me. Jeffrey asked for a workshop so we can iron this out and see if we can fix it. We didn't get that. We asked for time. That goes back to the audit that we know is coming. There's going to be federal audits on this last grant, and you can bet they're going to be on these 2. We can't pass one.
These
Our
are,
inner
they're big
workings.
concerns, Dorothy, they are.
What?
I'm not sure about us paying back the easement money.
It's part of the grant money.
No, that's something, yeah, that's one I asked, what about the easement money, does this come out at one point?
Comes out of the grant money.
Well, again, I think there's a little bit of clarity here. There are several different pots of money that are paying for multiple parts of this project. You've got an administration fee that is separate of the 1.3. You've got an engineering fee that is separate of the 1.3. You've got the acquisition budget, which is separate of the 1.3. So the parcels for both of these projects are all acquired. That part is complete. It's a
That's
separate
not part
part.
of what.
Okay, but whatever has been spent on the project out of the grant money, if not completed by deadline, we will pay back. Am I correct?
I don't think the acquisition is included in your.
Whatever's included in that, we will pay back.
Right. I mean, you're assuming some responsibility, just like the county. I don't think the county can get away from the comment of the county having no responsibility. That's not necessarily.
Well, in the meeting Friday a week ago, they had none.
They-
Exactly what they said.
I think they want to have, they want to limit some of their responsibility, but at the end of the day, they're the grant recipient. So if the GLO or if another entity audits, they're going to audit the county. If they request fund repayment, they're going to request it from the county. It's
Right, and then the county's gonna request it from us. That's what we talked about in the meeting.
which is what the interlocal is. They're trying to limit some of their impact, and it's a trade-off. This is the only way that the district can get the grant funds is through the county.
You have to sign on all this project goes on, every 30 days we're supposed to supply a cost, right? And then you have to sign on to that, right?
Yes, sir. I'm supposed to sign off on how much of the project I think has been completed
Okay,
each month.
The judge has to sign off and Tony Sims has to sign
That's
off
the fourth side.
on the money, before they have to sign off.
For whenever we request payment, yes,
Okay, so then that would mean.
or reimbursement.
That would mean we're 60 days out before we get any money out.
Yeah, I mean, I use a number of 60 mainly because we're building in whatever the review time is, and so the 60 days generally I would say would start whenever I get the documentation to prepare a draw, not for whenever we submit that to GLO. It could be faster than 60 days, but I don't want to mislead anybody and say I can get this paid in 30 days because what will occur is I'm going to get a series of documents that have to be reviewed by me and then reviewed by the GLO before it's paid.
Internally we're 60 days. I mean, we're 30 days, we've already spent the money. Okay, then we send it to y'all, and y'all are 30 days, And then, so internally, we're already 60 days.
Let's go to the simplest illustration. We just finished the new gates in December. GLO grant. We did in August, we finished it in December. We have not received one penny yet. And we're probably looking at a federal audit on that, may not get any more. That's a guess, but we're way
What
ahead
do you
right now.
think? I told Jerry and the lawyers that were working with the county early on, there was that concern by the county, by the district about what the duties were being assumed. And while everything is subject to being litigated, we went back and wrote the language that I thought would best identify our responsibilities, and that's before you in section 4, where we changed what the original draft provided, that we were assuming all the grant responsibilities, and the county remains the direct contracting party with the GLO and Texas Rural Affairs, and retains all responsibilities of the grant, save except for the construction of the improvements which are a defined term in the agreement. So yes, there is risk, or yes, there are 2 deadlines. Yes, those are the end of this year. Yes, part of those are the end of next year. But we are not assuming other grant responsibilities. So in my opinion, we're not responsible for their easement acquisition. That is their responsibility. Ours has been limited by definition to the construction of the improvements.
Thank you for that.
Okay. But if they've ordered $300,000 worth of material,
And we're responsible for material back?
and we don't complete them,
We're responsible for 1.3.
then we're gonna have to reimburse them for the material.
The materials are being provided by the county, and we're not. So they're their materials. They're not ours. They are providing the materials to us.
In that meeting, we would reimburse them for the materials that if we did not meet the deadline.
That's not included.
That's what Nathan said in the meeting.
There were some emails after that meeting, and I think Guy was on those meetings, and I clarified to Nathan that the maximum amount that Trinity Bay could get reimbursed for is the 1.3 minus the cost of materials.
And that is so we do not know a defined number for that, whether it's 325, whether it's 425. I mean, that will be what it
But
will be.
we're going into this with a whole lot of unknowns. Correct? We don't know how much money we got. We don't know when we can start.
At the same time, then you get close to the deadline. So
Sure you are.
if you're gonna do it, you need to
Okay.
get on it.
Well, I understand.
Yeah.
Why are we on such a deadline? Why is this coming to us? We
Got the
don't
deadline, we
understand.
extended.
No.
Yeah.
At this stage, there's no indication for an extension of that deadline.
Okay, but my question is, why with a project this big, are we just getting it at this point, 7 months on the D-Day?
Well, I mean, I don't think that that's, a problem that we can blame on the district or on engineer or on us.
There's got to be a question.
Well, the answer to the question is that it has taken 8 years to get an environmental clearance on the project.
No, this is a new project, not a lateral.
No, ma'am. I mean, on both of these projects, we've been working on these environmentals for a long time. And due to the issues with the core and the redesigns that we've
It's
had,
been there 10 years now.
which is an issue, right?
2 projects here, where you think the cost is going to be on another project, all that great.
Say that one more time.
For all that, the child that I'm putting in it, what do you think the cost is going to be on the other project?
What do you have in your opinion?
On the lateral, not the
On the
lateral.
value, the material cost? You asking about the material
Because
cost?
of the concrete,
Oh, on the round 2.1 project?
yeah.
It's going to be a little more. It's probably going to be, I think we've estimated about 450 to 500,000. It's more articulated block. Smaller boxes, but it's more lining along the ditch. So we think it's going to be about 400. I'll just say $500,000 to answer your question.
We need to hurry up and do
Well,
it.
the second project's going to cost, we're going to only get, they're going to spend $500,000 on the second project,
For materials.
on materials. That's what I was asking.
Okay. We don't know how long the ditch is. We haven't seen a map of the ditch. We don't know how much it's gonna cost us to do our part of the work. Is there enough money left for the time and equipment that we're gonna need to finish the ditch. We as a board have not seen anything.
I haven't been to y'all's meetings on this project.
I asked for a map.
I'm assuming y'all have asked for a map and haven't received
I
one.
can't
Right,
tell you.
we don't know what it is.
They told me there wasn't one done.
Map's pretty easy to make. I can get y'all a map by
Well, I mean, it's kind of late now.
Well, I'm sorry, I haven't been involved in it. I'm not actually the engineer of record on this project. I'm filling in for Alan. He was the design engineer. But we do have some maps that we use for the grant application. And we have construction plans.
Scheduling done if we vote this today to start on it now.
What was the question?
Planning and scheduling. I mean, do we have anything on paper? How many men do we need? What kind of equipment do we need? Do we have in segments of where we need to be, like the deadline?
We provided plans to the district personnel, and I think they've determined it.
You provided a budget, didn't you?
Well, there's a budget for the contract that they're working within.
How much money on labor and how much on equipment?
I mean,
That's up to the district.
Yeah, that's district determination.
No, GLOs get paid so much on labor and so much on equipment.
Well, they're gonna reimburse you up to 1.364500, that's what they'll do.
Minus the cost of it.
It's not divided like most of the grants are. It's so much for equipment and so much for labor.
No, because it's not a defined number at this point, until we start seeing.
When you sit down on the last one,
Do what now?
on the last one, they separated out the labor and the equipment.
Yes, it's separated out, but it doesn't tell you, there's one, I tried to explain before on the gate project, it was one lump of money. You didn't have to do Bodie gates, this gate, and there was, it ended up being just a rough estimate of $750,000 a gate. But if one cost $300,000 and another one cost $1 million, it didn't make any difference. You get the money that's there.
Yeah, it's a lump sum. You know, where we start seeing the separation of time and materials is whenever we start to receive the timesheets.
Do you as a project manager have a relatively definite figure as to the money we will be allowed for labor and equipment after everything else is taken?
About $1 million.
And he's been supplied with all the labor and the cost and everything, their benefits, everything that the GLO needs, all of the equipment, with the horsepower and the weight and everything that's required for the equipment. He's been providing all of that, so we use FEMA rates and all the costs and everything.
So in
It's supplied
terms,
to him.
right, in terms of the personnel costs and equipment costs, the district has provided to me those documents.
We provided that to you.
Yes, sir.
So we had, the board member, we had to do that.
I mean, we can get that to you. I can send that. Jerry's got it. Diane sent it to me. But it's
Same, it's FEMA rates.
Yeah.
Same
What
as-
about we haven't received the budget? I mean, you know,
It's the exact same thing that was on the gates, their wages, the wages are a wash. So whatever we pay our people, they reimburse us for the people. The only money that comes back to the district is renting them our equipment.
just to clarify, what we're talking about is that there are specific forms that address each individual personnel's hourly rate. And then there are forms, separate forms that address each piece of equipment and what that hourly rate for that equipment is. That's what I've got. Those documents are going to be used to support the timesheets that I get in. I don't have that. I don't have a budget on anything else.
That's what we've been doing.
Right, and that's generally the practice. The only difference is prior to this thing really kicking off, and what we've tried to set up hopefully here by next week is that we'll have a separate meeting prior to the start of this project with myself, Cody, Diane, Jerry, and others that need to be involved in terms of how we're going to track and process the documents for me so that I can process it from there.
Well, I feel Dorothy has some legitimate concerns. I got some concerns about this too, because of the time frame and the money involved and everything else. I think the benefit that it's going to do to our community outweighs the concern. I really do, the risk. We need to do
I have
this.
one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have we cured our internal problems here with paperwork and everything before
I
we
have
start.
talked at length to Jerry about this, and he says we have this.
And I guarantee you.
Because that was one of my main concerns, was not getting everything done like we did before.
Well,
And this was a problem.
that's probably gonna end up costing us all the money over it.
And I'm
I
concerned.
disagree, and we're gonna get paid. It's at the county now. Vivian, I don't call names or whatever, excuses, but she sent it to them in April. And whenever she reviewed it, she used the wrong rates. Everything had to come back to us. We had to redo it all.
Jerry, you just said she sent it to the county in April.
April, yes, and they kicked it all back to us. And we redid the whole thing.
The job started in August.
I know.
But that keeps us from getting our money. Take Vivian out, doesn't matter. Somebody should have been checking. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I mean, this is insanity, what's happened on this one with paperwork. I mean.
It was bad, it was bad, but I still think that the benefits of this project.
Wait a minute,
I
let
do.
me ask a question. Okay, what makes you think you're straight with Moody Gates now?
It's all been done, it's all been reviewed, the grant administrator signed off of it, and the engineer signed off of it, and it's at the county right now.
How many times, and you can't blame this on video, how many times have you reissued invoices on this one project?
What do you mean reissuing it?
Changed them. Well, our figures have changed so much on what they owe us. It started at 467 or something, now it's down to 331. How many times have we corrected the main invoice for you?
Several times.
How many?
I don't know exactly, but it's been several times.
Sherry, how many times have we corrected the invoice?
Don't know.
Several times.
What?
Quite a few.
Several times.
Okay, which tells me we have a giant internal problem, right
At
there.
the time Debbie quit, the engineer that was taking care of the project quit, so I was ended up with nobody, and then we started all over from scratch.
There was no project started on also.
Smart Materials charged us the wrong amounts, so whenever you put it all together and you come out and give them a bill.
Yeah, it was gone long before you started Moody. She finished Oyster Mine, it was audited, she left long before you started Moody. So take her out of the equation.
I'm just saying that she left and everything's, so basically I had to
But
train
you
a new
started
person and
new
everything
employees
else.
with new projects. No holdovers, no handovers. But this scares me, and the paperwork on these two are gonna be horrendous. And because of the problems with Moody, you're gonna be looking at the county and county's got its own problems. They've admitted they've done an internal audit. You're looking at federal audits, and we can't pass a federal
I
audit.
think we can.
No, I don't think you can.
I
Number
disagree.
one, you don't have time cards.
Do that?
You don't have time cards.
What do you mean I don't have time cards?
Honest, you're handwritten
You
time
don't have to have
cards.
those time cards. You have electronic payment, and you have, through a payroll service.
Are you betting me now you can pass a
No,
federal
I'm
audit?
not.
Let's get back
We
on
still
our,
have got a long way from Whitehall.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Not really, not
we need to
really.
get back on.
Let's look at it this way. Okay, to do this is gonna benefit this community, correct?
Right,
Okay, this is something that's gonna eventually have to be done anyway.
right.
Okay,
If
now
we don't
we have a
get
chance.
help from the government, we will have to pay for this.
So do it ourselves, so we
We
got a
really
chance.
don't know it's gonna benefit this. It may benefit one area.
But right now, you got a chance to have to get
But
paid
it may
for.
harm another when you're dumping all that water down there. You don't know that.
No, I don't
When you
know.
start moving water, you don't know. It may help one hour.
The district went 17 years and had to use backups on GLO for a long time. And I don't know what happened on this. But what I really want to ask, and ask everybody is, on June 12th, which I guess was yesterday, the county adopted, for federal fund procedures, new procurement policy.
They actually tabled that. They tabled that. They didn't adopt that.
They didn't adopt
No,
it.
sir.
Okay.
They didn't.
Because I mean, it's pretty,
It was on there, that got tabled, that wasn't adopted. The county needs to have, ultimately what it's coming down to is that there is previous federal procurement guidelines that have, for lack of a better phrase, gone away and been replaced by a new set of federal procurement guidelines, and the county needs to have that inserted into their purchasing policy. But that particular one that they had on there wasn't going to address that, so it.
So they're going to adopt some of it for federal purchasing.
They would, and that county needs to have that because they're the recipient of federal funds.
Okay, but I mean, us being a next recipient, do we need the federal funds first?
We have to follow it, grants.
I mean, it's all going
But
to
you're-
federal, we know that, and GLO, the federal comes down.
But it's a pass-through, everything's a pass-through. I would say that if you were going to be a direct recipient of federal funds, which you're not, then it would be different. But every grant that this district gets is a pass-through from the county. So it's more important for the county to have these policies in place than for the district to have them.
Well, that's interesting, the fact that they can audit us because of our use of federal funds, even though they came through the county.
When you say they audit you, who's auditing?
They can, they have the ability to audit us because of,
They have not yet.
I said they have the ability to.
Well, and what will happen though is if they did, is it would be a finding against the county. It wouldn't be any finding against the district because the county is a subrecipient. If that were to happen. And, you know, the documentation tends to be audited in terms of, you know, payments is going to be done on the county side and not necessarily here, although we would track that. Again, you know, I can't speak to your other administrator and what has happened on these other projects. I can only speak to how we do business. So.
Thank you.
Well, we went years without any problem with the GLO project. What happened to this one?
Well, I need a motion.
And I think one of you two should make the motion to.
I will not vote for this. I will not vote for this, and I'll tell you why. If this was a personal contract I was entering into with my money, I wouldn't do it, so why would I put public money in? I'd like that in the minutes too, Alex, thank you. Can't do it.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Well, I'm still thinking, I just don't understand why it's gonna benefit the community, why y'all are against it.
Okay.
What is your input?
Dorothy's concerned about the risk it's on that. Very much.
Risk in the money, we don't have it.
It is risky, but I still think this benefits the community. I think it needs to be
But
done.
Mike, we don't know, it may benefit Winnie, you don't know what it's going to
If
do.
you start from the bottom and work up, which is what we're trying to do, and it's gonna benefit. It's gonna benefit. I've been farming all my life. I know how water drains.
Workshop on this, so we can hash it out. I mean, all I know is what I see on the TV.
I had to
They talking about a 1-inch rain over the weekend, a minimum. And the people in Dickinson, Bel Air, all over Houston are petrified.
Yes, they are.
Because they have no rain. And we have the opportunity to improve our rain. If we'll step out on a limb.
I want somebody to guarantee me if it improves the drainage area.
There's no guarantees in life, but according to our drainage study, this is part of the things we need to do. Winnie has always flooded up here. This may help fix the problem. I think it's worth the try.
All right, then I'm gonna make a motion that we, consider entering into an interlocal agreement with Chambers County for Mayhaw Level 1 and Mayhaw Bioline project.
I say it.
All in favor? All opposed?
No,
Abstain?
Yes.
And Dorothy?
I'm
Abstain?
definitely no.
No.
What's abstain?
One no, one abstain. Means you didn't want to vote. One way or the other. All right, motion has carried. We'll continue on with item number 9. Review and consider acquiring a utility easement from Mr. Bobby Wade. Review of rehabilitating sewer lines on this property.
Yes, sir. We're pipe bursting all installed and everything else, and Mr. Way has a line that comes across diagonally across his property there, and Elroy Henry went about 6-8 months ago, and he told me that he did a survey of your whole property, and we went to the courthouse and everything else, and we can't see where we have an easement on this line anywhere, and the deal would get on Mr. Wade's property, he would like for us to do an easement with him to relay the line through there. Actually, not relay it, but pipe burst it. It's part of, it was in this phase of the contract.
Why did that line come across his property instead of going down the street with him anyway?
Bobby, you got any idea? Okay, I don't either.
Don't know.
We backed through, went through everything we could, trying to find.
When was the original line laid, do you know that?
It's
Bob?
had in the
First of the
thirties,
Whatever that
a
was.
long, long time.
Have you had somebody look at the easement?
Well, I knew you didn't have an easement.
I mean, no, look at the contract.
I got Richard Baker supposed to get a hold of Diane wherever she is.
Okay. So if we do approve this, it's only on the approval of your attorney.
That's right, yes.
Okay. So that's the way we'd have to approve this.
Do you want to make the motion with the approval of the attorney, or do you want to hold it for another month?
The only thing is, the contractor's completely finished in that area, and we would have to either drop this out of the contract or whatever. And this is
Gary,
Gary fee.
Gary, I came up here 5 months ago and told your people you didn't have an easement.
Okay.
So you send the contractor to my house to try to get an easement, which is not his job. Somebody from Trinity Bay should have been there to talk to me, which I had no problem. So I already said I would get an easement, but there's gonna be some language in there, since there's fences and roads and asphalts.
Right.
So, and as soon as Richard Baker, I'll know where is Diane.
She's in our office, I'm sure.
I gave her here, as soon as he gets with her, we'll figure it out.
That sounds good. If we could make a motion with your attorney's approval.
Yes. We can bring you that agreement.
Dorothy,
Is
you
that
think?
what you want?
Yes.
I make a motion, to accept the utility easement as soon as Richard Baker's through with it on Bobby Wade's property.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? And motion is carried. Number 10, consider possible action on repairing Perry's weir.
Isn't this a new?
Voucher.
It hasn't been that long since we built this.
It's old. Here's a picture of it.
That's where
We
they're
put in a
working,
new one somewhere.
well, that's where they're working on
We
this.
get married.
We did one for Joyce.
We did.
And this where the guys in the county got arrested.
Yeah,
Yes, right down the road where,
that's where they built the fence, and they did,
Oh, yeah.
they cleaned all the trees off.
You so
You
good.
get saying, don't know what I'm saying.
I'm good at use one.
anyway, you're looking at, it depends on what the board wants to do. The bridge is bad, and it also has a sheet pile type weir on the backside of it. And we went in there about 6 months ago, and laid a set of mats on top of it so that they can drive a tractor across of it. Trinity Bay has some sheet piling left over from the FEMA job and some I-beam to be able to repair. She would have to pay about $20,000 to put a wood deck on top of it. Altogether, if we actually charged her for the sheet piling and the I-beam, you're looking at about $130,000.
You can't put a big culvert in there?
It's a pretty good sized ditch there, to be honest with you. Yeah, we could put a large culvert, probably 2 large culverts. What size do you think it'd be? If we took that out and put 2 pipes in there, what, it'd be about 100-inch pipes or something.
You could look at it down under the county road and see what's there.
It's 30 foot wide at the
Does the
top.
weir hold water up for
Yes.
cattle?
That's the thing, she wants to do it,
Well,
But we are
that's,
very-
So like a pristine look at the water tank in the pond.
that's
Yes.
that there, that goes, that drains slope, in that area in there.
Oh, Judge, can I ask a question? This provides drinking water for cattle, does it provide any irrigation water of any sort for farming or anything like that? Is it for anybody else besides Ms. Joyce?
not that I'm aware of.
So it's privately owned and it's for private use. I don't feel like Trinity Bay should pay for repairing it. If she wants to repair it, she can pay us to do it. but I don't think we should spend the
All
taxpayers'
the policy
money
in your
for
mind.
a private owner. I do not. If it doesn't benefit more than one person, I don't think. That's my opinion.
I think it's the main thing, it's the only way there is to get to that piece of land on the other side.
Yeah.
It's the only access.
Now, Trinity, they built it.
I don't know.
I'm not sure who built it.
Annie, you got any idea?
That was before my, this thing is old.
Yeah, I know, it's
As soon as
really
they
been there long. built
built it, yes.
And I know she's a friend, but, you know, we have to do the right
It
thing.
doesn't have anything to do with it.
No, it doesn't.
You live in that country.
It doesn't.
What do you think?
I don't know.
Tom, you live there.
So this is the year where they cross, and you can see where they hold the water here on the backside.
Now, if she pays us to do it, like we've done other things in the past, I think Jack Bauer paid us to build a bridge. Yes, or and different things like this. I don't feel that that's too bad a situation. But that's my opinion.
Something like if she bought all the material, that we would supply the labor, is it cost share type deal?
Whatever our board policy is.
Right.
Okay.
That would be okay.
All right.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Yes, sir.
Whose property is this? I missed the name.
Lee Falcon and George.
Oh, Lee Joyce Falcon, okay.
Yes.
Make a motion, we repair the bridge with the Miss Falcon furniture material, we'll furnish the lane.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried.
Bridge anywhere.
Right. Bridge in the weir, make sure to put that. Right. Number 11, review and consider entering into a contract with Thompson Consulting Services for disaster management. And we have a brochure right here.
Yes, sir. Last time we went into out for contract, we went through the HGAC, and Mr. Goodson would probably expand on it more, but the HGAC had problems of how they procured these contracts, and FEMA kicked them out and said that they weren't legal. So our consultant suggested, and Mr. Goodson, that we put our own contract together and go out and take our request for proposal. This is what we did in 2011 in the very beginning, and we had hired Thompson, and the next one is Crowder Gulf to pick up the materials. So we put it out for bid, and Thompson and Crowder Gulf are the two best companies. You have a copy of that there. So Mr. Goodson.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon, and appreciate the board and the staff for spending the time doing this. And sorry it's such an effort, because we've always enjoyed the relationship with HGAC, being able to do cooperative person programs, acquire any number of pieces of equipment and other significant contracts. But due to a change in the federal procurement rules that are now in, for everybody's pleasure, the Code of Federal Regulations, 2 CFR 200, they have, even though it is a qualified procurement method under Texas law, the federal government does not view these procurement methodologies used by HGAC as compliant. So that's why we recommended that the board, that staff go out and re-procure this very important services. So we're at the beginning of the season, so these are two very qualified firms that we see being procured by other governmental entities. Obviously, how they perform for you all will be whatever they do when they're finally engaged to be out here, hopefully, network. But we do think that it is appropriate to go ahead and do your own independent procurement, and they have been determined to be the most qualified. And they have, again, a number of references for both entities.
Okay. Can we put 11 and 12 under one motion?
Those are the board.
I make it.
Okay.
I make a motion we enter into contract with Thompson Consulting for disaster management and Crowder Gulf for disaster recovery to remanage.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion has carried. Two items to pass. Item number 13, review and consider the lowest qualified bid for road materials. We have a bid sheet here in front of us. And the only question I had was on this 16 gray limestone base that Knife River did. There's another $50,000.
This was in the original bids, a quantity of 33,000 tons and possibly 1,000 of the gray rock. Tom went out and actually brought buckets to Tracy out there and to make sure that we were buying what he wanted. And instead of $50,000, the other people were no bid because they could not supply. And that's why there's no money there. But everybody else, Tracy was happy with the limestone base, so Knife River was the lowest at $29 a ton.
That's the river.
That's the, yes, sir. Actually, we paid almost $40 a ton whenever we did a formal bid through the GLO because they had to have a bond and they had to have all the other paperwork that went through it, so it was quite a bit cheaper. Doing it individually, and since it looked like it could possibly go over $75,000, we did a formal bid to do it right.
What do we need, 3,000 or 4,000 yards? I mean, you got to ask for a bid for 4,000 yards, base rock and all that.
We feel like that 3,000 tons should do what we need to do.
Okay.
And just in case there was something else, I added a different material in there.
Okay, I'm just curious, for the original bid at roughly 4,000.
Yes.
That's going on there.
Yes.
So why we need 3,000?
So how do you want the,
Just basically, we accept the low bid from Knife River.
and y'all let the tons?
For the base bid,
Just a little bit. And Mr. Tracy was happy with it?
Yes, sir.
Very, okay.
I make a motion that we accept the bid from Knife River for the road material for the middle project.
Second, it is a lot of difference, like.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion is carried. It is a lot different. Different than day. Makes you want to make sure who you got rock with.
Where is it now, River Rapids?
There, right there.
When you go to the railroad track,
Tommy,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was Cowboys.
Cowboy.
Yeah, they bought several people out. I thought they bought Martin Marinara out too. They haven't yet.
that's out.
Okay, I knew they were big. They were a good sized company. They're doing all right with concrete and all that.
Imagine getting it over your hand.
They have another yard here over there in, Mount Deli, concrete yard, and they got some other stuff. I know they're all over. I'm not sure where they're all.
Well, they get it out of San Antonio, well, go Verde, and they bring it in on a train.
Okay. Cool. Big company.
Now, we used to be president of the, now he's just council.
Item number 14, consider possible action accepting utility easement on Thomas Road in Stowe from Alfredo Velasquez and others. I can't say that name. Sorry.
Thomas Road is off of Hayes here in Stoll, and these people need water and sewer service. So Thomas Road is a county dedicated road, but unimproved. And I told them that we would, that they will pay us to give them water and sewer service, but they have to get us an easement to go down there. So the board would accept an easement, that way we can serve 4 houses there with water and sewer.
Where is Thomas Road in relation to Winnie Stoll area?
It's in Stoll over here by the wetlands. You got Main Street, and then Hayes runs from there to the wetlands, and it's off of Thomas.
Thomas Easton.
They're gonna acquire the easement, we're gonna accept the easement, and
Yes.
then we'll lay
Yes.
on water.
They had Elroy lay out an easement for them and everything, and we will accept the easement that
And
way.
you'll have one on one side of the road, one on the other?
No, I had to put them both on one side of the road because there's a different landowner on the other side of the road that don't know where they live at. So they gave me a large enough easement so I could put water and sewer on both sides.
Yeah, 'cause there is some abandoned tracks.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the utility easement on Thomas Road in Stoll from 4 landowners. Alfredo Vasquez, Leticia Santana, Carlos Rodriguez, and Arna Fugioto. Somebody already with me.
No, that sounded cool.
You did good.
Yeah, you did.
Second.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Moving over to item 15, review and consider reclassifying vacated labor position to a drainage equipment operator.
We have some equipment operators that are temporaries right now, and with all the dirt work and everything else that we've got going on with these projects, we'd like to just reclassify this labor position and turn it into a drainage equipment operator. And in the future, if need be, if we lose an equipment operator, we put it back, we might put it back to the laborer again. We're paying the money already, it's just some of the temps.
This actually saves us money.
It's about a trade-off, yes.
Scott Schrader.
I make a motion to reclassify the vacated labor position to drainage equipment operator.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Review and consider, number 16, review and consider having a majority of the board of directors sign all checks instead of only 2 authorized signers.
I'm going by Texas Water Code 49.151. Checks shall be signed by at least the majority of the directors. That's great.
Mr. Goodson.
That is correct, and there's a subsequent section there that allows the authorized board or resolution to name other individuals, including manager, bookkeeper, several others, to be to sign this person. So there's either or, and your enabling legislation has language that is even slightly different, which is what the board's following today. It's the pleasure of the board. It is.
So what we're doing if David or Jerry signs a check, still okay?
That is provided in the water code as well, as that the district manager may be.
That's what you're saying. Right, that's what you're saying.
But by resolution, the board wishes to bring it up. So, I mean, that's, again, the pleasure of the
It's
board.
never been done by resolution. You missed that step. If that's what you want, that's what you're gonna have to do as a resolution.
So what is your recommendation?
I don't have a recommendation. That is what you have Sherry to do, and what you have Leanne to do is provide you the financial checks and balances. We have, most districts do allow for either boards to sign or a designated representative, but it's pleasure of this board. There is no one policy that every district follows.
Well, we've only got 2 lines on our checks.
Doesn't matter, you sign above or below those.
Yeah.
Most banks won't print the 2 lines on the checks for some internal reasons with their check printing companies. So most entities just have a third signature above the top signature line, or if they ever got good penmanship, they sign below it. So it's a pleasure.
It don't matter to me.
I think we're doing a good job as it is.
I don't see any hiccups.
Mike?
Need a motion? Because either way it works. Ms. Sherry, has Leanne ever said anything about it?
Well, she has a question before, like having other people sign up in the board.
Other than the board? Like I said, it's up to us, so just whatever we decide to do. So I need a motion on this agenda item.
Well, you start having federal money and getting all this, I don't know, I mean, should we not follow the top of the law all the way down?
The law says we can do it whether we're doing it or do it any way we choose.
The law says the majority of, you can have other signatures. You know, I don't really give a damn. I I can't make you, I'm one vote. I gave you what the law was, I told you we weren't doing it. That's all I could do. But it says at least a majority of the board, that's 3. If you want to have 5 more people sign, you have 5 more people sign.
You can have however you want.
You can have 10 sign.
Right, exactly.
But I really think it's time. We really don't have any checks and balances here. We deal with an awful lot of money. And then it's time we start following the laws the way they're written, on the way they're interpreted on the good old system locally. Period. That's all I got to say about it. Take it or leave it.
Still need a motion?
I don't guess it matters whether you got 10 or 12.
I make the motion that we follow the law that states that we have at least a majority of the directors sign checks.
That's 3?
That's the 3 out of 5 majority.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is it doesn't matter whether 2 or 3 sign it. The checks are already written out and they're owed, so what difference does it make one way or the other?
Well, you still gotta have checks and balances. And it's not, as a director, are you supposed to just be sitting there signing them?
Can I say something? Can we
You
just-
bet, all that.
Can we just make a motion to table it and we can think about it?
Sure we can. I'm gonna tell you what. Sure. I will accept you tabling my motion.
Well, I mean, it's something that might
Yes,
be
we can.
thinking about or whatever, I mean, it's.
I like not jumping into things thinking about it. I don't have a problem with that.
If you. So we have a motion
That's been tabled.
that's been tabled, and we need a vote. Or do we only table?
No, you just tabled it.
All right, then we'll move on to item.
Wait a minute now. They have trouble putting stuff back on the agenda before, as a board director. If she wants to come back with it on the agenda, how does she get it back?
It comes back
It's
on the
been
next
tabled, it
agenda.
comes back the next meeting, all that.
Okay, I just wondered, we could.
It's not.
As individual members of the board, we've had some things on the agenda, never had time, so I just wanted.
It's not done.
It'll be on the next agenda, Tony, is that okay?
That's fine with me.
Sound good. Is that okay with you, Jeff?
That's fine with me. I mean, I just want to make sure that.
Item number 17, review and consider having all checks signed in open meeting. This would require 2 or more meetings per month to meet financial obligations.
There again, that's what that's what they do at the beach. Here's the attorney. They sit down, they have a financial meeting ahead of the meeting, which is open to the public, am I correct?
I don't recall them having 2 meetings a month, they have 1 meeting a month. And they do have an audit and finance meeting in March when this last year.
And they do sign all checks at open meeting.
Now, who is that, does that?
Ball or water. Right, he's their attorney. And I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do this like that.
Several of our clients have audited.
You can look on the website for Ball or water and read their policies and stuff, and how they handle it. And it's very cut and dry, it's very simple, and it's very transparent.
Their audit and financial committee meeting, they meet in the evenings, and their audit and financial committee meeting meets each month, immediately preceding their board meeting,
And go over the invoices.
and they review, the audit and finance committee reviews the invoices. And it's a posted meeting because it's a majority, it can be a majority of their board, so they do.
And then there's a line item in their regular meeting if they need to discuss anything, and they talked about it in financial meeting, correct?
Correct.
You said so many clients in that.
They're the only client of ours that has that audit and finance committee, but they have used it for quite a year.
But it's very transparent, I think it's not.
Pleasurable.
And we all have a habit, Tommy. I'm talking to you, me, Mike. Well, I used to sign checks, I don't know. You have a habit of sitting there and signing them and not paying attention to what you're signing. Am I correct? I do it.
Well, I try to see where they're going, yeah, I do.
Bottom line is, when you sit down there with the actual invoices and look at what you're paying for, it makes it a lot more real than just signing a check while you're talking.
Did you do these after the meeting, that's what they did?
Prior to.
Well, they have the invoices laid out there where you can actually see everything that you're doing.
Well, that's to satisfy the you you're talking about. I'm satisfied that, because the girls already looked at it. I mean, they've already,
Sometimes you need to go
Well,
along.
here's what
Jerry
happened.
decided,
We only paid $15,000 and we approved 130 and they paid 144 in money test.
Yeah, on Texas Brown last month,
Because it didn't take out the retainer.
and you signed it, Tony. But that's what I'm not gonna, it's just, it's called checks and balances, for a reason, it's public money.
But they
but
have,
the thing about it is, what if they have to pay somebody, and they're gonna have to call a meeting if it's gotta be paid right?
No, you're up, if you can't pay all your bills twice a month, you're in trouble.
But I mean, if somebody comes in here and delivers something, but they have to have their money, and there's 2 board members, 3 board members.
Well, you can have some exemptions from that,
Well, they could have-
for a certain amount, and you could also have some for payroll.
that is possible.
But you can have exemptions for things like that, up to a certain amount. But we have no checks and balances at all now, we need some back.
I disagree with that.
Well,
I look at everything, yeah. I sign every check, make sure that everything is what it
Well,
was.
Jerry, let's look at it this way, since you can have checks and balances. You can write a purchase order a purchase order, right?
I don't write
You can, you can request a purchase order. Then you can purchase. Then you sign the invoice when it comes in, and then you sign the check. That is really not what I call checks and balances. You have the ability to do all of that.
I have the ability, but I don't do
You
it.
sign most of the checks, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Don't you sign off on the
Like you
invoices?
said, there was checks being passed through here that I didn't even know about, so
But don't you
I
initial
signed every
the,
check.
do you initial the invoices
Yes,
for
I do.
payment?
And again, as Tommy mentioned just a second ago, that the purchasing and everything else should make sure that that's right by the time it comes to me.
And then he goes over it again, so it's already double check.
That's not what you consider part, checks and balances, that's going through several people. Go on.
I need a motion for this.
Which agenda item on, I think we're on.
17.
16. Okay, I'm sorry, that's number 17.
We're on 17 right now, Ms. Dorr.
There's 2 parts to the,
It's signed in an open meeting, and this requires 2 or more meetings per month. That's what we're talking about right now. Having all checks signed in an open meeting
Except payroll.
and having,
I think that was all.
payroll signed.
I'd like to make a motion to kill it, Tom, go ahead.
I make a motion to kill it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't want you mad at me, Dr. Slay, but
I'm not mad.
I think that's gonna cause more problems.
Do I look mad? If I'm mad, you'll know it.
This part of the meeting,
Nobody
right?
mad at me, I like it alone.
Okay, need a second.
You looking at me like you
Second for what?
Tommy made a motion
I'm not mad.
that we do not do this.
No, I'm second.
All right, all in favor?
Mr. President, before you move on, I will say this, again, Bolivar is the client that has this audit and finance committee, and they do meet, as I indicated before, the regular meeting each month. The board could consider, if they're concerned about interim checks, either, as was mentioned, the water code does provide, you can delegate that responsibility, and again, to a dollar amount, if that's the pleasure of the board, or an audit and finance committee meeting could be set, because it would probably constitute, if it constitutes 3 members, it would have to be set, and that board, those members at that meeting, not a full board meeting, but still open meeting,
Yes.
would meet and sign checks at another time.
How much money did Bolivar go through?
I don't have the budget in front of me. It's not,
I mean, are we comparing apple to apple, or we're persimmons?
We go through a lot of money,
They don't have
and
any
they're a lot tighter than we are with theirs.
they just are a one district that has only.
My comparison is guys, their attorney.
They don't, I just said, the question was asked, are they similar? They do not have two systems, and they don't have a tax rate to collect. So that's the main difference. They're a utility owned district.
They're about smaller, but they're a
I
lot
don't know
of
what the customer
watch.
But still needs thinking about it. Tommy's got a motion. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Wait a minute, got a second.
Let's table this, and let's look at it when we look at the first thing, let's have a meeting, and we'll go through all.
You've already voted on it.
No, we haven't.
No,
We
Yeah, you
did.
did.
we voted on
On
it.
17, yes,
You voted?
yes.
We had 3 ayes and I had got to the
Now,
notice.
for 18, I don't have to go for a motion for that.
Let's put it up there though with the board of directors. Sign the check.
Okay, let me make a motion on 18. I make a motion to consider creating a financial committee made up of 2 or 3 board members to meet prior to this regular meetings and have a line item in the agenda of the regular meeting to discuss anything necessary going down to the financial.
To review payables.
Review payables, work on budget, do whatever's necessary.
Those committees also is, I think, what is the one that interfaces with your auditor.
Yes.
Auditor.
Yes.
Now, what is this financial committee gonna be responsible?
They're not gonna make any motions, they're just gonna review.
They're gonna do the reviews
And,
and
and
questions
make
and bring it to the board.
advisories to the board.
They're also gonna be working pretty hard on the budget. We gotta start working on the budget.
Even though they're gonna be a majority.
You can do a 2-member. You don't have to do 3.
It's going to be posted meeting, so.
It's posted meeting, I had to do a special meeting.
I would always recommend, even if it's only 2, because you're delegating the function.
This is gonna still cost us.
But it's 1 meeting.
But it still costs money.
No,
Yeah,
it's ahead of your regular meetings.
yeah, but it's still posted, so it costs money.
Everything's been put out here now. Jerry, tell me why you're against it. It's been an open, let's go into an open policy thing, just like we were asked to do before. Now, why are you against doing an open policy thing?
Nobody,
I mean, evidently we are.
no, we're not, Jeffrey, sit back
We
down.
are.
Don't have to be mad. Yeah.
Because evidently, we don't want to do open policy. I mean, that's all she's asking for, is an open policy.
Transparency.
We're planning on, we're gonna get them, Craig.
No, we're not. For the last, how long has Trinity been in this?
1949.
Since 1949, any board member could come in and look at any book, run through the file, and they did it the whole time.
They still can.
They still can, we just voted on that last meeting.
Yes.
Try.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, why are we against this open?
Why are we wanting to change all of a sudden, all this different stuff? I mean, I'm asking a question.
I'm trying to go back like we were.
Was it ever like
The
that?
change I want is back like Trinity Bay was.
Was it used to be like this?
No,
Was it used to be like this?
sure.
It did.
Not like this, no.
No, whenever I got hired, the owner was broke, and there was nothing, and there was no building, there was no equipment, there was no happy employees, and everything else, and I turned that all around and
And
made
you
this a
find
good
yourself,
company.
Jerry, I
And
know, you
now,
always do.
now, all of a sudden,
You need to shut this meeting down.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we have item number 18, review and consider a
I make a motion to
meeting.
table it with the
I'm
other two.
finished, I'm good to it. Okay. We have a motion on the floor of up to 3 board members. We need a second. We haven't got a second.
I'll second it.
You made the motion?
Okay, never mind, sorry.
All right,
Thank you, all.
we need a second from someone else. Okay.
Is this a motion to table?
No,
This is
It's
just
a motion
I think-
to go proceed.
so it's gonna die like, to what? Or like a second? Go
I don't
ahead.
know.
Let all-
There's nobody seconding this?
No.
Jeffrey, you don't want a second?
Well, what are we second? I'm confused.
Number 18. You read it, or I'll read it for you. Review and consider payment, review and consider creating a financial committee made up of 3 board members to basically meet and go over
I'll
this.
second it.
You second it?
Yes.
Okay, Alex, you got that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
2019. Review and consider payment. Number 3, to take prescribed utilities in the amount of $78,408 for sewer rehabilitation project.
Are you gonna subtract out the overpayment from last month?
Yeah, we're gonna correct Barbara's mistake, yes.
It wasn't Barbara, Lane Blundell's made a mistake. Why do you put a name with it?
The month before, she was given.
Do you know it was
Well,
Barbara's
wait,
mistake?
now, the only thing I know of, there is a form that has been made that handed to everybody so that they could show exactly what the retainage was and what the amount paid was. It was simplified, am I correct? Sure. So that this mistake would not be happening again.
Barbara did create it, but she did give a
Thank you.
form the last time. But she paid what she was told to pay.
Right, which was wrong. Which was wrong. It had the retainage in it.
Yes.
Now, the way I understand it, this mistake is fixed, that it can't happen again. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
I
That's
didn't
all I
ask
want
for
to know.
blame, all I asked was it fixed.
No, that's what I asked.
I'm sick of that.
Okay, I asked, and it has been fixed. Correct? Okay, so we can move on.
Then I make a motion to pay payment number 3 to Texas Utilities.
All in favor?
I put a map up here, this is what they completed, for the $78,000, this is installed, and most of install has been done.
Okay, all opposed?
Okay, the lines are not highlighted.
Motion carried.
No, sir, a lot of those have been done already. Just about everything in Stoll has been done, except the 1 10-inch line going across the freeway, back across there.
Yeah, waiting on Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby's attorney.
Bobby's attorney, yes. And worked that out with them, and I believe that should be just about everything in the Stoll area.
I have had reports from different people in Stoll saying their sewer system is working a lot better. I know that Mike has replaced a lot of the pumps and grinders, which the line is good to fix, but you have to have some way to move it. So you have to go update all that, or you don't have anything. So he's done a real good job. I know that everybody is complimenting on how well it's working.
Whenever they're doing this rehabilitation, are they changing out the man cover? And are they raising it?
Yes, sir, there's a specification in there that it has to be certain, it has to be like 8 inches above ground, so it won't, but they're putting all new manholes and renewing the taps and everything, making it a watertight system. I believe if you look at the pictures that I put up earlier, it'll show you, and with all the fittings and everything,
I know
clean outs.
when we had Hurricane Harvey, there were a lot of groundwater, rainwater was running into our system, overflowing our system with rain.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm asking, are we extending them up? There's a ring you can get.
Yes, sir.
Just to extend it up.
Well, that's that too, Greg, and like down here, behind Miss Fontenot's house, almost to the Winnie post office, there was cavities in the ground. But the big holes where water was seeping into the system, and all that's been shut down and fixed. And I don't know what percentage of water we're using or treating now compared to what we were before, but I'm sure it's a lot less than what it was, because they fixed all those big leaks and big cavities. I know that.
It takes time, but we're getting there.
Oh, yeah, we got to spend more money on it, to get it done, and that's what I intend to do. Okay, item number 20, Miss Dorothy left for a minute. We'll wait for her, I guess. I need to send somebody after her.
You want to explain where this temporary drainage easement is on Seabreeze?
Right, we'll talk about that.
On the staple to the drain.
Let me get my paper here.
It's south of 1985, and right about where Pearl Orchard Road ties in the Jackson Coffee House used to be. Just to the east of the roads.
Okay, and where is this easement gonna be at on this map here, Danny?
There's a
The
red
red lines?
Yes, sir, there's a canal that comes from 1985, and we pick it up at the canal and go over to this ditch, and it's ditch 5B.
And you say a temporary easement, it's just gonna be a one-time deal to clean the ditch?
Yes, we've done them in the past, that's the way I understand it, it's a temporary, it's a one-time trip.
Have you confronted Felix about a permanent easement?
No, this talking to him, he suggested a temporary easement. I didn't argue with him.
My question again, Dan, who's this deal?
There's farming going on out there, I can't think of the guy's name, I think his last name's Joseph. And,
Okay, I know you're
he's farming in that area, and it's showed that, he needs to get that wiped out for farming.
Okay, can we put this map on the board?
Yeah.
Let's see. This is 1985.
Now, this would be just for slash busting or whatever.
This is
Different.
closed.
That's mainly what you're after, is
See,
you're not moving dirt, you just mainly.
just closing stuff there. There's one spot in it where there's a little pond looking thing. Okay,
Lights are next to 1985. Here's something.
Should be right in there.
there's a little pond on the village, you see that?
Okay, what I'm looking at here, to the right of this map, there, the white line, is that the Fair Oaks Road?
Let's see. White Ranch Road.
White Ranch Road's on 1.4.
It's the other way, right?
Is that 1.4?
No, that, right up here, this is, Fair Orchard.
Fair Oaks here, this is Fair Oaks, okay.
This is
So you're south of 1985.
Yes, this is where the old,
What is this right here?
we moved that machine, to the LNBA canal, east of Hampshire Road. And north of I-10, we replaced a 36-inch by 100-foot pipe. LNBA is on a pipe, and they're going to help install it, they're going to help tie it down. We started on that this morning.
Yeah, David did that, right?
Yes, yes. That black plastic pipe they got.
Yes.
The long reach, 50, moved to reach 5A, 4C. That's east of 124 and north of White's Ranch Road. We changed out two 36-inch by 25-foot pipe from Edwards and removed a 100-foot of pipe from the abandoned canal of Simon, James Simon. And we are cleaning the ditch going east, dipping lilies, grass lilies. The D6, we worked on the spoil on Double Bayou, south of 65, to the Lone Star Canal, and then we moved it to Oyster Bayous, working with the FECON, the new FECON. The 3, we worked on the spoil of Double Bayou, north of 65, and then we moved that one to Bad East Gully, south of Carrington Road. Drainage crews who are doing their thing, they're tying down, flagging traffic and working on pipe jobs. The spray crews or they have done yearly totals approximately 539 acres.
That's a month, for the month.
For the month. And 14,100 gallons and about 112 miles.
That's pretty good.
So yearly totals are
You got a good kill on that.
Yes, well, we're killing what I'm looking to kill. I'm trying to preserve the grass. And I've seen some of the photos up there. Some of them you can look into detail and see that there is some grass growth, and that the weeds that we don't want, the ragweed, bloodweed, stuff like that, is dying.
Okay.
So it's working. It's a
This is called the alligator weed.
yes, sir.
It's killing.
Yes, it's working.
It's first cousin of water hyacinth.
Yes, I have what I'm targeting is dying, and I'm so far pretty happy with it. And we've been able to cover almost what we did in a year, in 2 months, due to the ability of our equipment and being able to get out there and get it done.
What about your expenses per acre or per minute? Is it higher or?
Compared to last,
Where are you?
honestly, I don't know. I'm still using about the same stuff other than the change of the surfactant and the drift. So honestly, I don't have that number.
Okay.
So, is there any other questions?
Dan?
The yearly totals were, on average, about 1,000 acres. Gallons is about 28,000 and a year.
All right. Danny, want to add one thing. As we were coming over, Tom and I rode together this morning, and that ditch that goes to that mobile land, across the tail wheel comes out.
Okay.
That ditch looks good.
Yeah, we did.
I wish they all looked that good.
The dozer work on both sides, and while we had access to the dozers before they go to the GLO stuff, we're trying to get all we can with those dozers. And while we can, that was one that we did.
Tommy can vouch, we commented on that ditch this morning, every time.
It's easy to keep it that way now. Mow it.
I did have a question, Dan. I know, over there, close to me, y'all put in a new pipe and repaired another one and stuff, and worked on one side of that ditch. Why didn't y'all do the other side? While you were there?
We just never have. It's thick.
It is heavy on the other side. I was just curious, why we only work one side. I know that's enough to spray, and enough to get down, and enough to do everything.
When we did it back years ago, we did it with a long reach. We could reach all the way across, so it's not a drainage issue. It just make it look better if you went down that side.
Well, it would look more like the ditch they were talking about.
Yeah.
I was just
Something
curious.
we could think about doing it there. I don't know. I'd have to look at the easement and see, but most people, it gives the high bank to high bank with permission to put spoil.
See,
Spoil is on that side.
My next question is if we only had easement on one side.
You just have to read every one.
Okay, I was just
But
curious.
there's dirt pile on that side, so
It's easy.
back when the first time they must have dug it, they were on that side. Because there's dirt pile on there and not on the side of the work.
Well, I noticed that too, so I was curious. I just wondered why. Thank you, sir.
Let's see, on the 308, we moved it to ditch 9C, on the west side of 1663, north of I-10, and we moved the floating grass there, and I think it's about finished up with that one. And then the bridge crew took their 329 up in Hancomer, on Crooked Bayou, north of Hancomer Loop. And we removed an abandoned bridge and added dirt to a pipe crossing. So they took their 329 with a bucket and did that south there.
Another question I have for you. Did you ever go look at that slippage that was on this ditch over here that we're gonna have to clean to the main out
I
project?
think it's just a matter of getting over there with the equipment, but if we could do the same way we did
With that bulkhead?
Yeah, it would take something substantial. It's not just putting dirt there, it's I don't think it's gonna stay. So we'll have to do the same thing, do a section of wall and tiebacks and backfill.
Yeah, because that part, what we were talking about, you did the top part, you gotta do the bottom part.
Yeah, but
Right.
if that's for sale, from what I understand.
Yes.
And so if another landowner ends up there, they may be okay with us laying that back, moving the road over.
But is the power line, they gonna move the power line?
Well, that's some of it too. They don't want to pay to move the power line over, because that would be on the landowner. And then there's some trees that we're concerned with in there, in the old, it's really an old canal. And,
Yeah, it is. And it ties into Mayhaw.
but if another landowner, if somebody buys it, they're willing to let us lay it back and fix the problem.
What I understand is that a lot of that water from Stoll and from Hayes Road and different roads through that ditch to get to Mayhaw. Is that right?
Yes.
It has to. So that ditch is one of the most important ditches in drainage. I noticed on the other side, they have a deer fence.
Yes, and that's the reservoir pipe, and it's got a high fence, and then that was now the parallel on this side. So you got not only natural ground, you got a high levee and a canal levee. So it's even more.
Well, it looks like problems.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I talked to Jerry a little bit about it already.
Yes, I did meet with Energy, and they agreed to move the power poles over. But the problem with that was that once you moved it, then that was the guy's driveway also. Now, his driveway was completely moved over, and he didn't want to pay any money, so. But Energy did agree to.
He's on our driveway. I mean, all this is on our easement.
Right.
All this is on our.
Well, we have our easement is, like I say, the top of the ditch, the natural ground and natural ground.
Right.
In the easement, it says that the dirt, back when they were doing this, they were building the reservoir. So in the easement, it says that the dirt that came out of the ditch goes on the north side for the reservoir levee. This side is what's sliding. Not that we don't have easement for on the bank part of it, but all the dirt went on the other side. It says that in the easement.
But to look like to improve the ditch, we would have to go on the north side and take the fence down and dig the ditch that way.
Either side, either way. But often doesn't. It just said that we needed to put the dirt on that side to build the levee. It didn't say how far north it was. So we just have to look at all of it.
Yeah, because when it comes and it turns north and then it turns back west to Hayes, it looked pretty choked up too. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. Well, we need to clean that north side.
Now it goes, actually, Mayhaw goes around our sewer plant.
Right.
And some of this ditch we were talking about comes into it, crosses Hayes.
What I'm trying to stop is what Dorothy was talking about. If you clean the top end of it and the water floods down there and quits, it causes problems. We have to work on the bottom part of it, or you have that problem. And that's what I'm trying to discuss or talk about.
Everybody back over on Hayes Road to back up floods.
It does, and this is why they flood. I went and looked myself, and this is why they flood.
Since the Mayhaw conversion, when we did that, we went from Todd Road straight to Spindle Top. I mean, we were having a lot of problems back then.
Oh, I imagine.
But, I mean, you can still get some of there. Once it gets to there, it's so much better than it was, a few years back.
It's just still something we need to look at while we're doing all
Unless
this.
you
To
put
make
your
it work.
high, then you're building that truck.
It makes it all work together is what I'm getting at.
Danny, while I was signing checks on it, I noticed a repair to Lynn Hendricks that had to be a pecan bearings and what have you. Are we still having bearing problems with pecans?
It's only been one pecans that long reach we had some issues with, and they changed the bearings out, made them a little bit bigger a couple of years ago, and this is the first time they went out since then.
That's pretty good.
And he is,
Do we take the pecan off the machine and carry it to him, or he comes here?
Tim does it.
He comes here, does he?
Tim does it.
He did that on the
Tim
job
does.
site.
Well, why did I sign a check to Lynn Hendricks?
For the parts.
That was the parts?
Yes.
Anything else, Ian?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Utility, water and sewer, Dan? David, sorry.
We've locked 8 meters this month, responded to 5 customer problems, 12 meter change out, 3 meter leaks, 9 new taps, and did one locate. We responded to 70 grinder maintenance calls this month, 2 new grinders installed, 3 new sewer taps, 2 sewer stoppages, 1 grinder pump replacement, and had 4 sewer main repairs. Construction crew installed 5,260 feet of 8-inch C900 water line, and also 220-foot 3-inch force main. This is on the I-10 feeder road out there by Vortex, and 1 fire hydrant.
James, if I may ask, what did you find along with Miss Nell Miles' sewer problem?
Greg, that's been a special problem.
You get out there.
We're out there right now relaying that little section of line. From all indication, from what we found out there, there's a check valve somewhere in the line that's froze shut, or it keeps hanging up, and we've dug up the couple of spots where it should be, and it's not there. So we're out there, we're going to relay a couple hundred feet of line, put a new service line in.
Have you been out there taking care of it?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
got cornered at church, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
I would ask.
Is that all? Okay.
Okay.
Mike?
Yes, sir. Just want to give you an update on the lift station project. Today, we purchased 8 panels, just got 6 of them in Monday. We've installed 2 of those. We've purchased 8 pumps, and they've all been installed. And I have currently right now 5 at the repair shop that are going to be repaired, and we'll be able to put into our system once we get those back in the next month or 2. So we're moving along with that, and want to let you know that we'll also be mailing out the consumer confidence reports this month. So you'll be receiving that probably close to around the first week of July. And that's all that I have.
Have you heard from the big underground tank or the big water storage tank yet?
You got to bid them.
We did. We just received an estimate. The engineer worked on it, but we just received that this morning, so I really haven't had an opportunity to look over it. But I'll have that information after today. Be able to look over a little bit closer and see exactly what we've got there.
Did you get involved with that?
We voted to look at it.
Okay, we're gonna go and proceed with it.
Like he said, we just received an email like
No,
that.
I mean, I know that we did proceed even, but are we gonna go and proceed with it?
It's up to the board.
We went out for bids.
That's, I know, I'm asking if we're gonna go and proceed with it after we get bid.
I don't know. We have to vote for that.
Well, I'm sure we vote for it.
I'm sure we will.
Okay, now, what about the sewer situation in, Winnie, the one that $1 million vote we had?
That's out for bid too.
The package put together is going out for bid to see what it's going to
And yes. Okay. Haven't got anything back. I do know that I have received a lot of compliments on the way the new sewer system is working. I said it before, I say it again. This is helping a lot. It is working.
You like a copy of the tank deal, Jeff?
If you can cut 50% of the water you're treating out by closing up the gaps and the leaks, I mean, you've got to be more efficient. I mean, you've got to be. It's common sense.
I mean, you're treating them, a lot of right water.
So we put more of our money to work.
I understand.
Right.
Don't have problems, as long as we have the money.
As long as we have, exactly right. Is there anything else, Mike?
No, sir, that's all I have.
I would like to say that I did visit with you about the way you were doing the pumps. And I thought if you would like to explain that to the board, that was very good, the way you were marking them and everything, where they came from, and identifying problem in it, and putting in different type of pumps.
What you say, these up issues?
Yeah, it was. It impressed me. It impressed the hell out of me. So, I would like to say I'm impressed. And you can't go to Alaska without it.
Can't go where?
To Alaska without it.
Okay.
That's great. So anyway, is there any reason for us to go in executive session today?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Thank you. Thank you for your work.
That's your close date.
You.
Yeah, right. Say that's the start.
I never know that. You did it already there. I never know.
Okay.
They don't take much.
I'm still. I'm thinking about it. I think that I was never worked.
Yeah, also, hey, tell Simon, thank you.
What are you on me about?
Oh, no.
Hey, pick up the trash.
I didn't have that today.
I go over it, I
I would like to see it been taken. But it wasn't.
That's what we're doing.
It was good.
I know. Because I had it.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
first done